First, let's take a look at this story from Mikhail Phelan that's up on Infowars.com, just breaking. There's going to be a Clinton fundraiser set for the Black Hat Conference coming up in Las Vegas. How about that? I guess they want to raise money for Hillary Clinton. How's that for irony or hypocrisy? You take your pick either way. I guess the way these Black Hat hackers look at this is that a Clinton presidency would be a hacker's paradise. It would literally be. I guess it would really raise their stock because everybody would be saying, how do we stop all these leaks? Information is coming out of everywhere. We don't know how to stop this. Well, you can stop it, first of all, by not putting all your classified emails on a private, unsecured server. There's some very easy things that you can do to keep from having your information compromised. But, of course, the people that I talked to at the DNC just really didn't care about that. They were far more interested in putting out conspiracy theories about Putin and Trump. But let's take a look at this article from Mikhail Phelan. They say, according to cybersecurity journalist Steve Reagan, the fundraiser will begin this on Wednesday during the evening hours of the Black Hat Conference in Vegas. They describe this as focusing on policy issues that will be facing the next administration. You can bet that hacking is going to be a policy issue that is going to face the Clinton administration throughout its reign here. They say a Black Hat spokesman said that the fundraiser was vendor and politically neutral. Yeah, right. And it's being run completely independent of the conference. And I say, but you wouldn't know that from reading the fundraiser's announcement, said Reagan. He said, while Black Hat called the event unofficial and Clinton herself is not going to be there, the idea of a presidential fundraiser at a hacker conference of any type just feels strange, unless you're talking about Hillary Clinton. He goes on to add that there are no fundraisers being done at the hacking conference for Donald Trump. Okay. Now, who is behind this? That's been the big conspiracy theory because they don't want to talk about what's really happening here. They don't want to talk about the information that's been revealed. They want to do a very clever pivot. They're much more clever the way that they handle bad news than Donald Trump has been. I mean, Donald Trump stepped in it with this Muslim just like he did with the La Raza judge, never pointing out that he was part of La Raza. La Raza. Everything for the race. For those outside of the race, nothing. That's their logo, folks. This is an Hispanic group that is called The Race. And yet, what he did was he said, well, because of his Mexican heritage, I don't think I'm going to get a fair trial. No, he's not going to get a fair trial because this guy is a Muslim KKK. That's what he needed to point out. And he needed to point out the same thing about Khan, but he doesn't. Instead, when you look at the way the Democrats handle this kind of stuff, the Democrats come out and say, well, emails? What emails? There's nothing to see here. Move along. Just ignore it, pretend it never existed, and lie about it. There's a very interesting revelation from William Binney. I said last week that I believed that if you really wanted to know who was behind this, you really had to think about, take a look at U.S. intelligence. I think they have as much, if not far more, motivation to expose Hillary Clinton as a criminal, as someone who cannot be trusted, than do the Russians. I think that all of this talk about, as I said when I talked to Alex from the convention, they've got the other R word that they've been using. They have racist, and now they come out with Russian. They want to attack Donald Trump because he's been America first. And they want to use this kind of McCarthyism, and it truly is a red herring. Okay, it is red baiting, red herring is what they're trying to do. I saw Carl Bernstein on the floor of the Democrat convention. I wanted to talk to him. He wouldn't talk to me. He did the same thing that Turd Blossom, Karl Rove did with Alex. Oh, no, I'm owned by CNN is what he said. But I would have asked him, Carl Bernstein, the guy that was part of the Watergate exposure, I would have said, you look like somebody that appreciated a good leak. What do you think about this latest thing here? Remember, when you go back and look at Watergate, that Deep Throat was FBI. Okay, I think, what was the guy? I think he was number 2, I think, in the FBI that eventually it came out. Nobody at the time, interestingly enough, even though we were at the height of the Cold War during Watergate, nobody suggested that the Russians were trying to do a coup against Richard Nixon. But there were connections with the CIA, with the FBI, with the people at the very top. You have to understand, as William Binney pointed out, there are a lot of people who take their job seriously, as William Binney did in the security business, that are absolutely furious and appalled and cannot believe what Hillary Clinton did and that she's getting away with this. I talked to a friend of mine who's a retired colonel. He said if he and his wife, who was also a very high-ranking military official, said if we'd done that, we'd have been in jail for the rest of our lives. All these people understand that. They've seen this happen. They've seen them go after whistleblowers that came out at the same time, talking about how the government, after 9/11, was using dragnet surveillance in violation of the Constitution. See, people like William Binney and Thomas Drake take the Constitution very seriously. And unlike Khan, they understand what's in it. They understand what the Fourth Amendment is about. There is no right of immigration for Muslims into this country in the Constitution. There is no right for that, but there is a right to be left alone. And these people who take their job very seriously, who believe that there are secrets that need to be protected for our security, and who understand the penalties that they face, and then understand that when they expose criminal actions by the government, that they try to put them away, as they did Thomas Drake, for 35 years. 4 documents, none of which were classified. Some of them one of them they classified that same day, then declassified it 3 months later. There was nothing at all to be classified by these. One of them said, well, it wasn't classified, but it should have been, and you should have known it, so we're going to charge you for having a classified document. It was simply a schedule of a past project. It didn't have any information on it. The project was already over. So what did William Binney say? We've had William Binney on our show several times, a true patriot, a true constitutionalist, somebody who has served his country in the intelligence industry, who has served us as trying to protect the Constitution as a whistleblower. This is what he said. He said, speaking as an analyst, this is a Breitbart story, Binney raised the possibility that the hack of the Democrat National Committee's server was done not by Russia, but by disgruntled U.S. intelligence worker concerned about Clinton's compromise of national security secrets via her personal email use. He referenced testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee in March 2011 by then FBI Director Robert Mueller, in which Mueller spoke of the FBI's ability to access various secretive databases to, quote, track down known and suspected terrorists. Okay, he said, now what Mueller is talking about is going into the NSA database, which is shown, of course, in the Snowden material released, which shows a direct access into the NSA database by the FBI and the CIA, which there is no oversight of, by the way. See, that's one of the things that Binney is concerned about, the fact that the FBI and the CIA can access this information in the NSA database. And he said, so that means that the NSA and a number of agencies in the U.S. government also have those emails. So if the FBI really wanted them, they can go into that database and they can get them right now. Okay, you know those 30,000 emails that Hillary Clinton's lawyers had the privilege? You know, talk about white privilege, Hillary Clinton. Let's talk about your political privilege. That's what's really dangerous. You have the political privilege that when you are suspected of violating the highest levels of national security, your lawyers are first allowed to go through and scrub what they don't want the FBI to see from your laptop. Now, Binney is saying that they do have access to those emails. So then he was asked point blank, and this was on Aaron Klein Investigative Radio. He was asked point blank by Aaron Klein. He said, do you believe the NSA has copies of all of Clinton's emails? And Binney said, yes, that would be my point. They have them all, and the FBI can get them right there. Now, let me remind you that William Binney wasn't just an NSA employee. He wasn't just a high-ranking NSA employee. He was the head of NSA technical capabilities and had been for quite some time. He knows what he's talking about when he talks about the hack. And he also understands the frustration of people who take this stuff seriously, unlike Hillary Clinton. He also knows the history behind John Deutsch, who was Bill Clinton's head of CIA. He had unclassified or classified documents on his unsecured laptop. They took that laptop. He didn't get a chance to selectively delete stuff. He was facing jail time until Clinton pardoned him, and he lost his security clearance. Not so for Hillary Clinton. Well, I think there's a lot of people in the U.S. government who are going to make sure that she does lose her security clearance because they're going to make sure she doesn't become president of the United States. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more from the DNC wrap-up. I just want to finish up with one other thing that William Binney said. You know, we've got this article where he says that he believes that It could very well be somebody inside the U.S. intelligence community that is leaking all this information about Hillary Clinton because they're unhappy that she compromised national security, that she's not only getting away with it, but she's going to retain her security clearance and become president, okay? They don't want to see that happen. He says there's another point that he brought up in this interview with Aaron Klein. He said the other point is that Hillary, according to an article published by The Observer in March of this year, has a problem with the NSA because she compromised gamma material. He says that's the most sensitive material at the NSA. So there was a number of NSA officials that were complaining to the press or to the people who wrote in that article that she compromised gamma material. She lifted the material that was in her emails directly out of gamma reporting. So what is gamma? Okay, remember when we talked about how a lot of these emails are born classified because they're about discussions between top foreign leaders, as well as, between information that they intercepted between other foreign leaders or information about what she said to foreign leaders. That is born classified. So when you send that, when that happens, when you're having classified discussions with a foreign government and then you're making comments about that, you don't need to wait until somebody puts a classification sticker on that. It's already classified. She should know that. She shouldn't have that on her private, unsecured server. And they point out that the gamma compartment, we're talking about compartmentalization, so there's this one compartment called gamma. It's an NSA handling caveat applied to extraordinarily sensitive information. For example, decrypted conversations between top foreign leadership. That's the kind of stuff Hillary Clinton exposed. Okay? It's not just that she sent and received classified emails, as the FBI director said, and then gave her a pass on the criminal actions. No, she also exposed that kind of information. So there's a lot of people, I think, in the American government who would like to see her exposed, and yet all they do is talk about the Russians with Trump, the Russians this, the Russians that. Look, nobody is talking about in the mainstream press, are they? The connections between her campaign manager, John Podesta, and the Russians, okay? A Putin-connected Russian government fund gave him $35 million, okay? She's gotten 20% of her funding from the Saudis, they brag. This is the candidate. This is exposed in a great report from Russia with Money, Hillary Clinton and the Russian reset, cronyism. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We have ended the big mega sale. Now, we have kept 3 items, though, this week. That's Brain Force, While Supplies Last, the amazing nootropic, for $17.76, normally $29. Leading competitors that have similar formulas are $60 to $70 to $80. That's 40% off. DNA Force, our flagship product. It's a big deal to offer 30% off on that. We're extending that. And then Vitamin Mineral Fusion, all the vitamins, all the minerals, the amino acids, the cofactors to help upload it. Great tasting fruit punch. InfoWarsLife.com, that's 30% off. But I'm going to go further. Boom, here it is. Normally you sign up for auto ship, you get 10% off. You still get that on top of it. I'm doing free shipping on everything. Whether it's one Hillary for Prison shirt or a Bill Clinton rape shirt or whatever it is, whatever informational warfare weapon you want to help spread the word and meet like-minded people, free shipping store-wide. Free shipping store-wide. So I want to thank you all for your support, your prayers, and so much more.